Hi everyone, it's Roz here from Brumby Horse Life, and today I'm still on the subject of communicating and using your hands for spatial awareness with your horse. I raised in the point in the last video that a lot of horses don't understand their size and weight when they're walking or moving around you, because it's what's going on in their head that is more important versus what's going on with your body versus their body, especially if they go into flight mode or they're angry or uptight. And often you see these battles go on between horses who are leaping and jumping around or snorty and carrying on, and they're not intentionally trying to run their owners over, but their owner ends up in having this physical battle, trying to calm that horse down and bring it to a halt, and it just ends up in chaos a lot of the time. So I've put this particular video up while I'm discussing this issue because I want you to watch Billy's actions around me, and how he constantly wants to move me to the far side of him and Bella. Now, Bill and I have worked long over the many years, and that starts from my period of when I was blind or legally blind, and me using touch all the time with him, and him developing his own sort of guarding instincts with me to keep me to the side and safe. And he's always done that. So that's been a part of that, him understanding or having an awareness of his body and what his body is doing. Now, Bella doesn't have that same sort of awareness level, so she also will try and push me to the side, and ward off Bill. But she, if you notice in the videos, doesn't have anywhere near the same sort of self control with her body as Bill does. And these are important things to take into consideration when you're working with horses, especially with two horses at the time. In this video, I choose to stay mainly on the opposite side of the fence because I knew that number one, she was feeling very reactive, and number two, he was going to respond back, and I didn't want to be collected, and it was causing him anxiety whenever I got on the other side of the fence, and he was trying to shield me with his body. So there's little things you have to take into consideration when you're working around more than one horse. So when I was training Bill to stand for me off lead or wherever he is, what I used to do with him was, if I was trying to tack him up or groom him, or I just wanted him to stand still, whenever he moved off the spot, initially with the lead rope, I would put him back on that spot, walk him back, and give him a verbal command to stay, and then I would touch him, and which would be, firm but without, hard pressure. But I would just hold him with both hands on his neck, on both sides, and give him a command to stay. So if he backed off from that, we would do a circle, come back, stand on the spot. So I was always using physical contact. So I wasn't just using the lead rope to do these things. I was physically touching him to position him. It's a bit like what you would do if you want another human being to stand on the spot, or you want to position them in a certain way. You guide them with your hands. So I would guide Bill with my hands and give him a command to stay, and then I would reward him. So he learned very quickly from the early days that I needed him to stand in certain places, and that was because I couldn't work my way around safely when you can't see the ground and all you can see is blurry objects. You really need to reinforce those basic safety principles, so that when you are grooming or doing bits and pieces with your horses, that you can feel confident they're going to stay on the spot there, and you won't fall over or trip on them, or they won't accidentally run you over. So that's a process that you go through, and the only way that you can learn if you've mastered that, especially when you can't see, is to use touch. And the importance of touch is this: you can feel using your hands when your horse is tense. And so there's no good just, me going, oh, well, I want you to stay in this position and just say it. I actually have to feel Bill's body and work out that he's relaxing. When the head drops down, you can feel that. You can feel the muscles relaxing. And when I knew he'd got into a state of comfort, then I didn't have to feel so concerned about him moving. And for Bill, because he's rather smart, didn't take him long to figure out that, hang on, if I stand still and do what she says, there's a benefit for me. So if you've watched the horse's antics, you'll see that one of the main tools that Bill uses when he wants Bella to move is his nose. He will tap, tap, tap her to ask her to move over and move away from his body because he wants to get in, usually to where she is. Sometimes he's just being annoying. But she has an understanding of that spatial awareness of tap, tap on the shoulder means move out, move away. And so you can imitate that same behavior with your own horse, because it's a horse to horse communication that the horse often usually or does understand, that it's to move out, move away. And some of these techniques we use in riding. But for a horse that's just out in the paddock, or a new horse that you're just starting with, it's really good to watch horse behaviour, and I'm not talking about the ears back and the nipping or biting or chasing off, which is the dominant theory of being the herd leader. This is about etiquette and manners, and teaching your horse basic etiquette and manners, that if you need them to move out the way, if you're moving around them in the stable yard, that you can do so safely. So practice the basic principles of running your hand down the horse's neck and down its side and feel for tension. Stop, feel for tension. You should be able to get to a point where you can lightly touch your horse and it from the shoulder, and it move off from your hand, and move away from your body. You can reinforce that with a gentle command to move away, whatever you feel comfortable with. Just simply because when you are working around a horse, if you can see that a situation is coming up with another horse in the yard, and you want it to stay out of your zone, and the only tool you've got is your hand, and your verbal command. If you've done that enough times, you'll find that the horses will respond to that, and you can stop something actually happening by simply using the verbal command at a later point if both horses in that area that you're in understand, which is what happens in my backyard. So, a simple method to teach your horse when it's feeling uptight or there's something going to go on, to move away from you. Put your hand on the horse's shoulder. Have a look at where Bill is chewing Bella to let her know that he's there, and he wants something from her. In that case, he wanted to play with her, but he was still communicating. You can run your right hand down their side, firm but calm pressure, and get towards the flank, and just keep that pressure on until the horse backs off away from your hand and release. So do that so that the horse is aware that you're also aware of its entire body, and you want your horse to be aware of its entire body, okay, not just its shoulder but its back end, and that it needs to move its complete body off that pressure. And you can reinforce that again with a command like move away, whatever you feel comfortable with. I use fairly basic human words because that's me. I don't like to try and confuse myself or the horse, thinking about using proper horsey terms, so I just use human terms. So it's all designed for safety's sake, so that if the horse is feeling reactive, it'll know if you've trained it enough to move off and away from your body so that you don't get run over. On a final note, just remember whatever tension that you carry in your body, if you're going to touch your horse and you're feeling tense and uptight, you're going to transmit that tension and that energy, and your horse is going to react. So it doesn't matter whether you're inexperienced or you're experienced, if you're not thinking about what's going on in your own body, and you're completely focused on trying to get your horse to do what you want it to do, and you're doing it from a tension point, it's not going to work. Horses will react to the physical tension that you are feeling, and it will never go well for you. You have to learn to touch your horse without tension, in a relaxed and calm state, if you want them to move off from your pressure, and you want to be able to guide them around, and also to give them an awareness of their own body. So if you come in with a tense hand and you're pushing them on the shoulder and the flank, all they're going to feel is that energy, and you're going to confuse them and they're going to get frightened and they're going to react. If you come in with calm energy, with a firm but calm touch on the shoulder, run your hand firm but calm down to their flank or side, however you want to position yourself, and gently but firmly, you know, tap with the shoulder, hand on the flank, and ask them to move off. That's clear cut. That makes sense to the horse. So you need to practice those things to get them to learn to move out of your way. It's not something that they may get the first time. Some horses will. Some horses take time because their own natural tendency is to be flighty more than calm. So to get a flighty horse to be calm, you have to reinforce calmness with them. And I'm going to talk about that with Bella actually in the next video. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and hopefully you've learned a little bit of some of the lessons that I've learned over the years. Thanks, everyone.